criminalizing kids and for truancy. I mean, I can understand the whole truancy component because now the state is running afoul. The budget is all kind of screwed up. So now we need as many children as possible in the school system so we can at least get that ADA, the ADA money for that. So I don't. Yeah, we need to do everything we can to keep those kids out of the system because all we end up doing is creating these subcultures of that's good and that's bad. And once we do that, and then we haven't given the children, given the children or the young adults the tools they need to become productive community advocates or community, community participants to participate in the system. If they see no way out, then that's not their fault. That's our fault as adults who are saying we're doing all of these things to enhance and make their lives better, but yet and still we're allowing the adults to abuse them inside of the system. So, and working inside of the system, trust me, there's a lot of people in there, just like teachers, who don't like children. Some people just don't. I mean, again, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. It's just you just got a job where you can get a job at, and if you don't like children, and
you should be in a different job.
You should be in a different job, and I've never come across so many counselors in counselors and probation officers that just literally did not like children, but yet their daily income is derived from them working with children.
Yeah.
I just can't understand it. So.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Now, you're working very hard to capture those children who have the ability to go to college and to give them the vision to get there.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at all of those kids who don't have the ability to go to college and need vocational schools so that they have some direction to go in so they don't drop out.
Mm-hmm.
And our vocational schools are pretty meager, aren't they?
I've had this discussion before, and this sounds so familiar. A vocational school is fine in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. However, we are not that economy anymore, nor are we that country anymore to find those vocations because, again, no matter what vocation it is you go into, you're going to need some level of understanding and education. And to be good in any vocation, you still need the same tools. You still need to be able to sit down in class. You still need to be able to listen. You need to pay attention to directions and follow instructions. You still need those rudimentary tools to become successful in vocation. But however, I understand through vocation is a lot of hands-on work, and a lot of people learn, just from doing. And I think we should find a way to add that process, added value process as well in the mixed up. And maybe we can use vocation as a way to reintroduce education. But I can guarantee you this, Stan, if we look at doing a better job in the earlier years, and if we are really genuinely, truthfully telling children that they can become the president of the United States, and we're giving them the best education possible at the very beginning, likelihood of people dropping out is slim and none. But when you have dummied down the curriculum and you've told them they're doing good, and they're sitting there knowing they can't read, they know they can't write, and they're sitting in the 8th grade in the special ed class, and everybody in the class is the same way, then they've been lied to.
Well, okay, that's a different story. But when the Army needs somebody to read at a 9th grade level, we need to get people up to the 9th grade level so they even can do those type of jobs, which I don't look at as very desirable.
Yes.
But you have to have everyone learn to read at a certain reading level.
Agreed.
And if somebody drops out and is reading at the 2nd or 3rd grade level, that's not good.
That's not good. That's not good for no one. That's not good That's not good for that individual, nor is it good for the parent. But again, so what's happening in those early years to again, we could look at the social engineering of just promoting kids from class to class, even though they haven't mastered or even learned what they needed to learn to go to the next, to elevate to the next grade. I think we need to get out of this group speak that all kids should, we don't want to crush their self-esteem, so all kids should move forward. So again,
well, if every child is learning at their own pace, then you end the promotion and social engineering, because every child is going at the level that they need to go at.
Right, exactly. You're absolutely correct.
So maybe we need to concentrate on changing our methods.
Well, I think if we want to compete in the 21st century, I mean, we can't get any lower than we are, nor can we get any worse. The only thing we can do is, again, start over and just reconfigure, reform the system, and get to those kinds of models. Because if you look at what's happening, and I don't want to just bring charter schools into this, I look at how they do assessments at charter schools for individual students, night after night. Okay, it's a lot of work. I get that it's a lot of work, and the teachers pour a lot of effort into that. But again, each morning when they come to the classroom, they are understanding which way each of their 35 students are learning, and they're creating the same curriculum, but they're trying to meet that person's learning habits and learning styles for them to continue to move forward in classes. And I know that's happening as an end user of the Gateway product and an end user of the KIP product. This is exactly what was happening for my children, and I constantly hear this, and I constantly see it in all of the articles throughout the country. So again, they found a way to get to learning and training and teaching children at their own pace. It's the old Montessori project.
Is there anything that we haven't covered, Omar, that you feel should be included when someone is debating who to choose to be on the school board?
Well, I say you should look at a person's work. Again, for me, for instance, all of my work that I've done at schools, I've never done for a paycheck. All of the work that I've done, the thousands of hours that I've put in, have been just through volunteerism, and I'm doing this while I'm running for election, before I run for election. So I'm constantly and continuously doing this, so I think people need to be fair. I always go back to the transparency and being fair and honest. Some people are just doing it. Again, majority of the people I think in the race actually got a check to do the work that they say they were doing to interact with children. But what were you doing when you don't have the paycheck to dictate where you're going to go and do your work? So I think again, if they can't cover transparency, if they can't cover reform, if they're not really I shouldn't say pushing back against the teachers union, if they're not really saying, really looking at who's supporting them and who they're getting the endorsements from, then either you working for children and families or you working for adults in politics. So we need to really be clear, because a lot of people will come and try and convince us that you can serve both masters. And you and I both know that's not true. And oftentimes we have a lot of these candidates that are trying to serve them both, but always end up losing out to the more powerful and stepping on the ones with the least likely to have the voice to raise their voice. So I think we need to, as parents and in San Francisco and the voters, we need to become really aware of what's going on out there, and again, and look at the election process and look at the endorsement process. Again, you can't be endorsed by the teachers union and endorsed by the parents at the same time, because there's where the rub is at. Again, the teachers union are in control of the teachers. The parents are in control of the students. If it takes you 2 years to fire unacceptable teacher and hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you allow this teacher to stand in front of the classroom to affect hundreds of children's lives over a couple of years, I see that as a conflict of interest. So who are you going to serve? I say it has to be the students first and foremost, then the parents, and then we can deal with everybody else outside of the system.
Two of the candidates for school board currently work for the mayor. Do you feel it's a conflict of interest for somebody to be on the school board and work for the mayor? Or if not, is having two people on the school board working for the mayor have undue control of the school board?
People have the right to work. However, I think, again, they should look at their self-interest or the special interest. Having two people that currently works for the mayor, I think would be kind of hard to deal with, because we can already see at the level of how politics are really being played. And so I think if you add another person to the school board who's working for the mayor, it would just create more tension than coming togetherness. I mean, the conversation of everybody's coming together and we all singing Kumbaya, that's just conversation and slogans. And you and I both know there's
nonsense.
Right, it's a great divide in this city. You have progressives and moderates. And so if you begin to make those kind of alignments, then you have more people coming at you really trying to fight you inside of the system. I don't see where that would be a benefit. I mean, if it was a strong mayor, perhaps, I don't know. I mean, the jury's still out on that one for me, Stan, because, again,